This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
Luckies.com. Are you looking for work? Well, if you've got the references and skills, you can find it. To learn some of those skills, visit Luckies.com, or better yet, drop by their vendor table at the New Hampshire Liberty Forum. Luckies.com.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Like I often say, I don't get that applause in Washington, D.C. So it's good to be at home. It's good to be in Texas. And it's good to be back in America. So it's very nice to be here and among friends. But I do notice, Lou, I think there are more people here than before. It seems like there's some growth in our movement. And thank you very much for coming. There was a time when we would have meetings and maybe there'd be 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 of us talking about what we ought to do with the future. And now it is a delight to see the growth and the enthusiasm. And to me, it's very encouraging. I get a lot of credit for encouraging other people and getting them involved. But the truth is especially when I go to the universities, I get a lot of encouragement because I find the young people are responding so favorably. But this is, there's definite signs that significant change is occurring. And I do truly believe there is a revolution going on in this country. And I say that in the good sense of the word. A revolution, a true revolution, is philosophic. It's a change of ideas, and it's pervasive. It's not a Republican revolution or a Democratic revolution. And I often think about you know how the revolution occurred in the 30s.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder what this household finance corporation is.
It may be the very thing we need.
At least a continuation of one that actually started a little early, but a significant revolutionary change in attitude. And then it was sort of, the climax came when it was announced, it was official, when we had President Nixon say, we're all Keynesians now. So there may be a day that we'll get up and we'll have somebody in Washington say, we're all Austrians now. You know, it has been a lot of fun and a lot of enjoyment, especially for me in the last 2 years, and also very hectic at times. But things definitely changed after the presidential campaign, dramatically. There was a big change in my personal life. There was a big change in attitudes and respect for what we all have been saying for so long. But actually, there's a change in walking through airports. And that sometimes is, you know, quite, you know, enjoyable. I meet a lot of people. But it is fascinating. Why I'm so fascinated is by the individuals who come up and are excited about getting a picture or talking about what I've been doing. And I can tell you, the people who come and talk to me and want more information now, they're very diverse. Believe me, they do not look like the typical Republican. And I think this is great. Those interested come from all walks of life. There is no doubt that they don't come from the business class or the banking class, although we'll have them, but they'll come from the working class and in, you know, all areas of the society. But because freedom is so popular and brings people together, which has been my argument, if we follow the Constitution, defend liberty, then all of a sudden we melt away so many of our differences. But it also invites a bit of a problem because individuals who do come, sometimes I am dumbfounded, and all of a sudden new friends, and they seem to be even more than I expected. For instance, it's sometimes hard for me to totally understand why the TSA employees would be excited about talking to me. But it does happen, so I just wrote it off for a while. Yeah, they know I'm a congressman, and they just think that they have to, you know, be real friendly. But I swear, some of them are very, very sincere. And just the other day, this individual was reading all of my stuff and calling in the weekly report on the telephone and listening to it. So he's been very involved. So this idea that we can take people and stereotype them and say, well, they're in this category and they're not open to our ideas. And I marveled at it to think that really, with the ideas of liberty and limited government, we can approach anybody and everybody. And to me, I think that's just fantastic. You know, for a long time, we were a very small minority. We still are a minority, and we have to recognize that. We still have a long way to go. But several years ago, before we were getting any attention at all, I was talking to a member of Congress belonging to the Black Caucus, and there was some moaning and groaning about, you know, taking care of people who were in the minority. And I told him, I looked at this congresswoman, and I said, look, you have no idea what it's like to be in the minority. You ought to try being a libertarian in the U.S. Congress. But that is changing right now, and fortunately, I think all to our benefit. But we certainly have a lot of problems yet to deal with. This past week, we had a perfect example of where we really stand, especially on the foreign policy. Foreign policy might be the hardest nut to crack as far as getting people to come to a better understanding. I thought maybe after the election, you know, up in Massachusetts, that people might say, hey, maybe they do really want some changes here. Maybe we ought to look at things more carefully. And we had a vote this week, some of you might have read about it, had to do with Haiti. And I thought, well, maybe they'll look at this. Maybe they'll read the bill. Maybe they'll pay some attention. And maybe there'll be more than one vote. Maybe there'll be 3 votes or 4. The bill simply said, we express our condolences and our sympathies for the people who have suffered in Haiti. That is what the title said, and that's what nobody looks at any of that stuff until they get to the floor, and that's what the little sentence is on the desk. What are you voting on? Oh, to express our sympathies for the people of Haiti. But if you read the bill, you find out that it was an endless commitment of militarism and occupation and no limitation on funds to stay there as far as anybody's concerned forever.
This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
Luckies.com.